Well, I guess I'll make an intro to this video before I put it up. Basically, I went out, I took the bike out and did a lap, and then I went to take the car out, and I had some car trouble, and it happened right here in the driveway backing it out. Thank God it wasn't out on the road somewhere, but I ended up having to put a fuel pump on it, as you'll see in the later in the video. It was leaking pretty bad. You'll see exactly how it was leaking. So enjoy the video. Thank you for watching. This one out. Oh, cool. Front seats have leaked out. But they're 67, huh? Is that your car?
No.
It's not?
Had one like it.
I think I sat in the back of that thing, right?
Super sweet.
Pretty funny.
Oh, what's the motorcycle? I love the dashboard. Look at those gauges. Shows 81,000 miles and it has a spot for 100,000, so I suspect that that is the actual mileage. Just don't see these cars. That's one of the reasons why I wanted a video. Look at these. They're amazing. How nice. Looks like a 2-barrel. Pretty neat emblem. What a beautiful car. That upholstery. Beautiful 56 Crown Victoria. Here's a project car, huh? I have to go across the street. There we go. Here's the deal with the car, and it's still dripping. I had it was spraying everywhere under the hood, but I had a trail of fluid coming out of the garage. So I stopped the car to see why, and instead it's still dripping. It's all gasoline. The fuel pump is just spraying everywhere in the engine compartment. So much for cruising. You gotta get a new fuel pump and put it on. I might have a fuel pump. I'm gonna look around and see if I have one. If I do, I'll change it and we'll be back on the road. But I can't put this thing in the garage with it leaking like that. I mean, I got a lake of gasoline on I tried to wipe it up out of the frame member with that. That was just a waste of time. So let me see if I have a fuel pump and we'll give it a change. I got 2 fuel pumps and a gasket. So I might throw one of these 2 on. Maybe I'll throw this new one on. I got this one, which is a new style. I think that's a brand new fuel pump. I bought it for a road trip just as an extra, and I have an original style. This is what's on the engine, and it's leaking gas around this, so it might just be, I could probably rebuild the original, that fuel pump that's on the engine right now, but I'm going to put this one back in the box. We're going to put that fuel pump on. I've changed this fuel filter, or fuel pump I mean, on the road in the past. So these are all the tools that are required to change that pump. So I'm going to get to it. Hopefully it won't take too long. We can get it changed and go out for a little ride. The 1-inch open end and the half line wrench, I got to loosen the line at the carburetor so I can, when I go to thread it back on at the pump down there, I can move the line a little bit. It gives me a little bit of movement in it to get the threads started. And you can take a bolt out of the front of the engine and put a longer one in to hold the fuel pump push rod. So I don't know if I can get at it if I think the water pump, sorry, Dream Cruisers are going by and it was a little loud there, but I think the water pump's in the way. So what I'll do is I'll just use that long feeler gauge just to hold the push rod up so I can get the new fuel pump in place. But I got the fuel hose off because it was still draining gas out of the pump, and so I'm going to try and get this apart. Fuel line is loose up here. It's undone from the fuel pump. I've loosened the 2 bolts to hold the pump to the engine. I guess I need a ratchet because the push rod, actually hang on, I'm going to go get one of my little things turned right. Get these bolts out, and the fuel pump should come right off. The push rod's going to drop, but I'll deal with that when I go to put the new pump in place. No big deal. I think that bolt's undone. Yep. It's one bolt. I've changed this pump on the side of the road before, so it's like no big deal. It's a 15-minute job. If you're not working on a boiling hot engine, the last time I did this was actually in a parking lot in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the car had been on the road for about 6 hours at 70 miles an hour, and pulled off and went to get back on the freeway, and the engine, I started the engine, we started to go, and the engine quit. No, it wasn't getting any gas. It was a fuel pump. Stopped pumping fuel, so I 105 degrees out that day, and an engine that had been on the road for 5-6 hours under there down here changing the fuel pump. That was no fun. So at least the engine is still cold. Alright, so we got the old pump out. Oops. And it was kind of spraying out of here, but that's all greasy. So I don't know, maybe there's a crack in the pump or something, but I got to reuse those fittings, so I'll clean it up. And this rubber gasket may be the problem. It's kind of swollen looking in places, probably from the oil and grease on it. So let me clean up the gasket surface and get the fittings in the new pump, and we'll get the new pump on the engine. Yeah, I guess I'm not going to have to worry about any weeds growing in that crack. It just reeks. I have to let the gas fumes dissipate before I try and restart the car. There's just been a constant barrage of Dream Cruiser driving by my house since I've been fueling here, but I don't know if you can see that. That shiny thing right there is a push rod for the fuel pump, and you got to push that up, and I use like a long feeler gauge and just push it up and then put the fuel pump. But typically there's a bolt up in the front of the motor here on most of the Chevrolet V8s that you can take that short bolt out and put a longer one in that'll hold that push rod up before you take the pump off. But the water pump and hose and outlet's in the way, so it's a little bit more fuss, but it only takes a couple minutes. I didn't even have a gasket on there. Last time I changed the fuel pump on this, I don't think I had a gasket. It was on the side of the road or in that parking lot. And I just said the heck with it and put it on without a gasket, and I guess I forgot that I didn't put a gasket on it. It didn't really leak oil out of there, but anyway, it's going to have a gasket now. So let's get this thing together. Everything will work to hold that push rod up out of the way. I just used my Slim, so it's holding it up, so I'll throw the fuel pump in. I'll just get the fuel pump in place and pull this out once the fuel pump's in place. Can't video and work at the same time. It's pretty difficult, so I'm just kind of giving you the gist of what I'm doing. There we go, and fuel pump's bolted on, so now I'll hook up the fuel line to the carburetor and fuel line from the tank, and we'll crank it up and make sure there's no leaks. I did take the fuel line completely off the car and cleaned all this as the fuel pump in. It was pretty cruddy, so I cleaned it up so I wouldn't get any dirt in the fuel line. I don't want to get crud in the, well, it's got a fuel filter in the carburetor. That's a fuel filter is right behind this, right in there, but I just don't want to get crud in there, so I've cleaned the line. So the fuel pump's all on, so now it's time to crank it up and check for leaks, and you can see it didn't take that long. The gas hasn't even evaporated yet, and those are all the tools I used to change that fuel pump. It took me about 15-18 minutes. There's the old pump. We'll take the old pump apart tomorrow and have a gander at it, see why it failed. Still ran, it just sprayed fuel everywhere. I just backed the car up to get it out of the lake. No leaks there. Everything appears dry there. I'm going to throw the tools in the trunk and some stuff to clean up with, maybe a roll of paper towels. I always have paper towels in the trunk, so I don't need them. But yeah, it's still on the fast idle cam. The choke is still somewhat closed. I just got it out of the garage, and like I say, I noticed a trail of fluid, and I thought, oh, it was a water pump or radiator or hose leaking. Well, it was gasoline. So anyway, it's done. Go for a ride. And for all of those that are wondering, I did check the oil to see if there's gas in the oil, and there was not. The oil was right on the full mark, and it was not gassy or anything, so the oil's fine. It was leaking externally, as you could obviously see. You don't see those around much anymore. Yeah, this is nuts. This is Thursday evening now. And there's just people and cars and stuff everywhere. Temperature gauge is doing good still. The fuel is a little low. I think I lost a lot when the fuel pump was dumping gas everywhere. It looked like it dumped out a couple gallons anyway.
Hey, want to race?
Yeah, sure, that's beautiful. I love it, the forward look. Well, this is about 2 hours later, and it's still barely moving. So I'm gonna probably wrap this video up. So I'm gonna say, if you enjoyed my video, hit the like button. If you enjoy my channel, subscribe, and thank you for watching.